Your headline is Rachel Dolezal case leaves a campus bewildered and some scholars disgusted.
Well, I've been watching the coverage since the news broke, and decided I wanted to talk to the very people that she pretended to be and the people that she renounced. And so I decided to talk to black women professors and also white women professors who do work in Africana studies and related fields. And around the virtual table, I was watching some of this stuff go down on social media. There's a general consensus of, shock and disgust and disrespect from African-American women scholars. They're particularly disgusted by her manufacturing a black self presentation. They talked about most of the black women scholars talked about their own personal experiences navigating academe. From some of them talked about their girlhood experiences and then going through graduate school and going on the job market and having to carry anxieties about their hair, their size, the tone of their voice, how they present themselves to hiring committees. They talked about what it's like being black women in the classroom where their intellect is challenged. White students in particular treat them like mammies, these altars for their emotional needs. They're disrespected. They're not called doctor or professor so-and-so. They're Miss so-and-so. And they talk about how their theoretical work and ideas on, race and gender studies are often under attack. And so they feel like what Rachel has done is added yet another blow to this. I was particularly interested in talking to white women scholars who do race as well. And again, the consensus from them was, well, you don't renounce, she didn't have to renounce her whiteness, you renounce white supremacy. And so for them, they carry their burdens for doing this work as well. One particular professor talked about how—
Which professor?
This is the criminal justice professor. Her name, there were so many people I talked to yesterday, but she's there in the piece. She talked about how people will come to her and say, oh, you must want to sleep with black males. That's why you do this work. So there's constant assaults on her loyalty to her own people. And so, the white women professors that I spoke to felt like, she's made a joke of us. She's made an embarrassment of us. And now people are going to look at us sideways. And what she's done is potentially exacerbated, trust issues between black and white, female academics, which already suffer from a fraught history on the feminist question. But then there are others who say, listen, this is a distraction. This controversy happens at a moment when we're just talking about the abuse of women by police officers, the killings of black women, the McKinney police officer who slammed a bikini-clad teenager into the ground. And so, Rachel comes along and, there's this big distraction. And then there are others who say, look, her controversy isn't going to harm the serious scholarship being done by both black and white women academics.
I mean, I tend to lean to the distraction analysis myself, because we're really dealing with a troubled person individually. And then, as you say, in the climate that we're in right now, the media has grabbed it all up and turned it into this huge story. Yeah. That it doesn't necessarily have an impact on others who are struggling to get their scholarship and their work recognized, only to the degree that they accept that this is a pervasive problem.
But I think, too, is another important important point that some scholars raised was that this is connected to, say, her name in Black Lives Matter. That, on campuses, faculty are working really hard to keep students of color safe. Some of these academics talked about Ursula Orr, the Arizona State professor who was slammed, in the street by a university police officer just for jaywalking. They cited Charles Blow's son, who was detained and held at gunpoint by campus police at Yale.
New York Times report.
Yes, yes. So, so we're dealing with people, people of color who cannot manufacture white bodies in and outside of, the college experience to protect themselves from unconscious bias, from police officers who view their black bodies as threats. So the fact that she's playing with blackness in this way is terribly troubling to a lot of people.